with the right side of the aisle, their constituency has generally been supportive of the Intelligence Committee and Law and Order and the rest of it. But now we have grave institutional distrust of the intelligence community and the FBI. What do we do to restore that? And I know that's like a really simple 5-6 word question, but I'll let you have at it.
Yeah, it's important, and it's unfortunate, and to some extent, it's well deserved. If you look at our side, like there's always been some suspicion of the deep state. People are always suspicious of things they do not understand. They don't understand classified operations, so they're suspicious of them. They can't see what goes on in the FISA court, which is obviously the point of it, so they're suspicious of it. Many constituents of mine believe they're being watched, and I have to assure them that, trust me, you are not being watched. One, it's illegal for the CIA to watch you, and two, they don't care about you that much. But some people believe it nonetheless. So there's obviously some worries that I think are unfounded, but there's certainly others that are very much founded. And they mostly come from the FBI, if not entirely from the FBI. And that's based on the instances and the events that we all know about, starting with the Russiagate and the falsification of actual documents for the FISA court. I mean, there's some really bad stuff going on here. There's some really obvious political bias. We see the text messages that come out from FBI agents, and so people need to know how far this goes, and it will be up to Republicans to expose that. Exposure will be the best way to save the institution. In my opinion, transparency is the best way to save the institution. I would stand by any of the assertion that the vast majority of these agents are very good people, and we should not tarnish their reputations along with the bad apples. But you do have to find the bad apples.
So Peter Robinson here. Let me sound like one of your constituents for a moment. Here's what unnerved me. I've been suspicious of the deep state for a long time, although I wasn't really. I thought, permanent bureaucracy isn't exactly the deep state. There are people who develop expertise. We need them to some extent. All right. So it was going back and forth in my mind. And then during the campaign, 51 former high-ranking intelligence officers, including Leon Panetta, who had been White House Chief of Staff, Secretary of Defense, and Director of CIA, including John Brennan, former Director of CIA, including General Michael Hayden, former Director of DNA, as I recall, 51 of them signed an open letter to the American people saying that the Hunter Biden laptop bore all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. They knew, because they were professionals, that they had no basis whatsoever for making that assertion. We now understand that the FBI almost certainly had satisfied itself long before then that it was genuine. So you say, well, most of the problems are with the FBI. And honestly, for the first time, I don't think of myself as I think of myself as a right winger. I don't tend to think of myself as a crazy right winger. But for the first time, I thought to myself, it's rotten. It's all rotten. It all stinks to high heaven. All of it. Now, what are you going to do, Congressman, to calm me down?
Well, like I can't change what those 51 people did. I can discredit them. And I think that's been done.
Were you shocked by that as well? Or do you know these people so well that you thought, oh, it's business as usual for them?
Oh, I don't know if I'm shocked by anything anymore in politics. Maybe a little. Maybe I'm just that cynical at this point, but people have political bias and they're willing to say something untrue in favor of their political bias. I say it often. Both sides, I think, just think that the problem with the Democrats, well, the problem we have with Democrats is that they just have more of a platform. They're far more clever when it comes to making their lies sound legitimate. They're very clever at this. We all know this. We are not clever at this. Our lie, when we put out rhetoric or points made or whatever it is, when we put out arguments, it has this sort of hair on fire style to it that I wish, what I appreciate about, we got Charles Cook here. What I appreciate about National Review and you, Peter, is you don't sound like that. All right. There's certain institutions that don't sound like that. The Wall Street Journal does not sound like that. The Daily Wire does not sound like that. We sound reasonable. We make good arguments. Not everyone does. when the left makes bad arguments and sounds crazy, it's dismissed easily by your more moderate voters. This is what I see on a daily basis. This is an unfortunate truth that we have to deal with as Republicans. And so they're able to harness these so-called experts, right? The so-called, whether it's from academia or whether it's, you know, former intelligence agents, former officials, in a way that we are usually not able to. I don't know how to fix that. I just know how to make the right factual arguments and discredit them when they do it and call them out when they do it. And that's the battle, right? That's the battle, and that will always be the battle. It can frustrate us, or we can be happy warriors. Those are our choices. I don't have another choice. And that's what I tell voters all the time. I'm like, if you want me to be angrier, I'll be angrier, but I'll be less effective too. I'm just telling you that. And they'll be like, okay, fine. Fine. Keep being who you are. because it's the truth.
Ricochet. Join the conversation.